Hello children and welcome to the class today. Children, anything that you have around in your room right now will be occupying space. You will have to create some space on your table even if you want to keep your eraser, right? So everything around us will have some weight or the other and it will also occupy space. All these things around us are matter, and today in this chapter number 7, we are going to understand about matter, its nature and its properties. So children, as I just said, anything that is around you, whether it is buildings, bridges, even the electrons revolving around a nucleus, the DNA in our cells or the land beneath our feet, it occupies space and it has weight. Therefore, it is known as matter. Children, let's take the example of a lump of ice. A lump of ice or an ice cube can be touched. It is concrete. It occupies space if you put it on the table outside, and it also has some amount of weight. A lump of ice is a solid. Similarly, if I take water in a glass, I will see that this water can be touched. This water occupies space and it has some weight, some mass. So this liquid also becomes matter. Next, if I put air in a balloon, the size of the balloon increases. That means air also occupies space. Additionally, the balloon becomes heavier. That means the air that is inside the balloon has made it heavy, which comes to the conclusion that gases also are matter. And interestingly, these three states, liquid, solid and gas, they are the three states in which all matter exists. Let us talk about them one by one. Taking the example of solids first. So solids, we all have understood the molecules are very closely packed. Now when the molecules will be very closely packed, that means the intermolecular force will be very strong. So this is the first point of solids, that the intermolecular force is very strong. And when the intermolecular force is very strong, the molecules here will be held very strongly with each other. And also, when heat is applied, we understand that when we heat an object, the molecules begin to move away from each other. But in solids, these molecules are only able to vibrate. They are not able to run around. And we know with the example of a chair, a book, an eraser, that solids have a definite shape and they occupy space and have weight. Liquids. Now, liquids will have a weaker intermolecular force as compared to solids. Let's see this picture in the book to understand it better. So as we can see, in liquids, the space between the molecules is much more than it is there in the solids, because of which they can move freely around. Now, liquids do not have a definite shape. They take the shape of the container that you put in. Moving on to gases. The intermolecular forces between these molecules of a gas are very, very weak. That is why these molecules keep running around everywhere. This is the reason the gases occupy any kind of space you give them. Children, you must have noticed if your mother puts perfume in her room, you can smell it in your room. This is because the molecules are very widely spaced and they keep moving from one place to another before you even notice it. Similarly, if a garbage truck is passing down a street, one can smell it from the 12th floor as well, because the air contains that foul odor and it spreads out very quickly. So, this was about the three states of matter: solids, liquids and gases. Now, let us understand how these three states of matter are interchangeable with the help of a video. You must have seen smoke coming out of the exhausts of automobiles and the tall chimneys of factories. Dust particles are present in the air around us everywhere. To prove that, close all the doors and windows of your room. Draw the curtains to make it completely dark. Stick black chart paper to the window. Make a small hole in the chart paper stuck on the window facing the sun. A narrow beam of sunlight enters the darkened room through a small hole. You will see shiny dust particles moving in a zigzag way. This shows that air contains dust particles. So after watching these videos, we know for a fact that when ice melts due to heat, it becomes liquid water. And when water is put on fire, it changes into gas. And the reverse is also possible. You cool a gas, you get water. You cool water, you get ice. Now, some of the important points that you have learnt about matter here is that matter exists in various forms, solid, liquid or gas. It is concrete, it has mass and it occupies space. It can exist as solid, liquid or gas, and the three states are interchangeable. Another important thing is that all matter consists of particles. To take an example, if you feel some salt in your hand, you will see that it is made up of grains. These tiny grains are nothing but particles, and all matter is composed of these particles. So we can say in a way that these molecules or these particles in a solid are very tightly packed. Liquids, they are loosely packed, and in gases they are very loosely packed. Now let us understand the various properties of matter. The first important property is that whether they are soluble in water or not. Children, water is known as a universal solvent. Solvent means any substance that dissolves substances in itself. Solute is anything that dissolves in water. Any solid that dissolves in water is known as a solute. And together they make a solution. So if we take the example of solids, we know that sugar and salt readily dissolve in water, whereas sand will not dissolve in water. So sugar and salt are soluble, sand is insoluble. Coming to liquids now. Some liquids like milk will dissolve completely in water. So they will be called miscible liquids, whereas liquids like oil will not dissolve in water and they will be known as immiscible liquids. Of gases also, we have been learning from junior classes that oxygen and carbon dioxide are dissolved in water, because of which aquatic animals can breathe. However, nitrogen and methane are not soluble in water. Now, there is an activity which is given in your book to test the solubility of different items such as salt, sugar, sand, potassium permanganate and chalk powder. You can do this activity in class in the presence of your teachers. The next property is heaviness. So we understand a stone will be heavy, a feather will be light. Then comes transparency. Transparency is the property by which anything, any object will allow light to pass through it. So if it allows light to pass through it, it will be known as transparent. If it does not allow light to pass through, like human body, it will be called opaque. Then comes the color. So we know that water is colorless. Lime, the chalk that is used in the class, is white, and turmeric is yellow, leaves are green, copper sulfate is blue, and chilies are red. Children, you can also do another activity as is here in your book to test for heaviness. A very simple experiment that can be done in your class as well as at home. Another property of matter is malleability. That means beaten into very thin sheets. A substance like aluminium, which can be beaten into sheets, will be known as malleable. Gold and silver are highly malleable. That is why they are used in the making of jewelry items. Then smells. We all know that kerosene oil, petrol and some flowers have got very peculiar smell, whereas certain substances like water are totally odorless. Then comes combustibility. When you try to light up anything, does it begin to burn? If yes, then it is combustible. So paper, wood, petrol, wax and hydrogen are combustible. Then comes ductility. The property by which a substance can be drawn into wires is called ductility, and metals such as iron, gold, silver, aluminium, copper are called ductile metals. Then comes brittleness. So if I hit an object with force, will it break? Then it is brittle. If it does not break, it is not brittle. Volatility. For example, I take this pen and I keep it outside in air. Will it burn up? No, it will not. It is non-volatile. Whereas if I keep a piece of sodium outside in the air, it will immediately burn up. It's volatile. Next comes hardness or softness. So we all like to sleep on a soft mattress, not on a hard rock bed. Diffusion. Diffusion is the mixing of one material with the particles of another material. Now we need to remember that gases diffuse very fast because the molecular space is too vast. Liquids will diffuse lesser and solids will diffuse the least. Then comes conductivity. Now this conductivity means conductivity of heat and conductivity of electricity. So a substance that conducts will be called a conductor, and the substance that does not conduct will be called an insulator. So depending on the property of conduction or insulation, things are put to different uses. So this is a picture of a cooking utensil with plastic handles. So if you see this picture carefully, you will see that the main body of the cooking utensil is made of aluminum, copper, etc. because these conduct heat very well. Whereas the handles will be made of a plastic material called bakelite. Why are they made of bakelite? This is because bakelite is a bad conductor of electricity and heat, so that when you are lifting this hot vessel, it does not burn your hand. So we know that solid materials can be good conductors or bad conductors. Liquid water, pure water without any impurities, and pure air are bad conductors. But the water that we drink has some amount of minerals in it. That is why it becomes a good conductor. In fact, gases are generally bad conductors of heat. That is why woolen clothes act as insulators. How? When we wear a woolen cloth, then the layer of air between the cloth and our body keeps the heat in it. It does not allow the heat to go out. That is why it acts as an insulator. Then response to magnets. We know that some substances are the materials like iron and cobalt, which are attracted by a magnet, are known as magnetic. Materials like plastics, which are not attracted by metals, will be known as non-magnetic. In industries, magnetic materials can be separated from non-magnetic ones by the use of very strong magnets. And magnetic materials are used in electrical and electronic devices. Now children, coming to electricity and electronic devices. Now if you have actually noticed the electrical wires in your house, you will know that the wires are mostly a bright red or a rose gold in color. This is copper. We know that copper is ductile, it can be drawn into wires, and it is a good conductor of electricity. Now, because of this reason, it is used in making electrical wires. But because we have to touch these wires with our hand, how do we make it possible that we do not get the electric current? This is by covering a wire in plastic or rubber, because these are insulators and they do not pass the electricity. So, this is how, and this is why, children, you will always see an electrician coming to your house wearing rubber-soled shoes so that he does not get current. Yes? So in this chapter, we have learned the various properties of matter, how they can be changed from one state to another, and how because of these different properties, different items are put to different uses. I hope you have understood it very well and you're ready to attempt the questions at the back. Thank you.